This episode is brought to you by the Financial Services School, specializing in educating insurance professionals.
Mandatory reporting of data breaches is something that's been in place in the US and UK for some time now. And as of February, businesses within Australia will too be subject to the same rules. I was lucky enough to sit with an expert in the field, Meena from Cyber Data Risk Managers, to learn more. Enjoy.
I'm an insurance broker, really, but how I'm different is that I specialize in cyber risk. I think that I don't think businesses are always keen to make public data breaches, but if there is a legislation that imposes on them to do so, then as in the case of the US and will happen in the UK, that we'll see more such instances being reported. But also, what I found in the UK was that Lloyd's, for instance, underwrites 1/3 of all American businesses. So, they have that exposure. So, you do hear that news coming from the UK as well, and they moved along the learning curve. But the US, obviously, we hear a lot more about because they have mandatory notification legislations embedded. I went to a discussion forum some time ago, a couple of months ago, where the privacy commissioner was present, Mr. Timothy Pilgrim. And there were words going around, that mandatory notification might actually come into effect in July. But, he made it very clear that it's not going to happen before February 2018 because the bill was passed in Parliament in February 2017 and requires royal assent, and that should take exactly 12 months. So we'll see the notification, the notification legislation then become a law here in Australia in February 2018. Well, I do suggest that everyone must go onto the OAIC website because that spells out exactly which businesses are covered by the legislations and which are not. But of course, the minimum that it spells out is that a business must have a revenue of 3 million a year to be covered by the legislation. But there's certain types of businesses like healthcare businesses that are covered irrespective of how much revenue they have in a year. So I recommend that every business, small or big, must actually go into the OAIC website and go through the checklist to determine if they actually are covered by the legislation. But 3 million is the revenue that's actually cited as the criterion. The commissioner obviously now has powers to impose penalties on the business, and many a times what happens is that on the dark web, someone can find that data floating around, which an ethical hacker, for instance, can connect to your business. So if you don't report and it does come out, then it carries that risk of your customers not trusting you in the future because you did not let them know that there was actually a breach, and especially since there's a legislation that mandates that you should make the data breach public. It would obviously tarnish the image of the business. There would be extra penalty, and the business can also lose the trust of its customers. So in instance of a ransomware attack, there could be a scenario where you also end up losing data, and if your business is covered by the privacy legislation, then you would have to report to the regulator, and you would also may potentially face third-party legal action because if your customers feel that you have been negligent in safeguarding their data, then they can come after you. So the policy would then respond in that sort of way, but it would also respond in helping you meet the crisis by helping you pay for any mandatory notification expenses, also doing any PR with your customers, and the forensics around it as well. But I think sooner or later an acceptance will seep into our system that all businesses are getting breached or are going to get breached at some stage. So I think because it's an equalizer, I don't think businesses will really shy away from reporting. But it's also, I think managing the whole cyber risk can also be done strategically. So, a business that sort of has a strategy around notification, has a strategy for connecting with its customers after a data breach, and really how they communicate to the customer, how they communicate to the general public would be an interesting exercise to see that, which businesses do better at it and versus which, businesses that perhaps don't do so well.
To find out if your business will fall under this new regulation and to further learn what the penalties for non-compliance are, you can check out the OAIC website. We'll put a link in the description. Click here for another video we did, give us a thumbs up if you found this helpful, comment with more stuff you want to know about, and for more demystified insurance jargon, click that subscribe button.